Mobile is home to an African-American treasure many people are unaware of, Africatown, and a man whose legacy lives on today. Cudjoe Lewis is a prime example of hidden history during this Black History Month.
Great.
A cast iron image pays tribute to the last surviving member of the final slave ship that came into America. Cudjoe Lewis is one of more than 100 slaves captured in West Africa and brought here on the Clotilda in 1859 after a Mobile businessman made a bet he could sneak them in illegally.
Remember the story, but don't hold it against them, because if you do, you're going to become the master of your hate. And you're going to be a slave to yourself. And that's the worst kind of slavery to do, when you have self-induced slavery.
Israel Lewis III is the great-great-grandson of Cudjoe Lewis. He talks of how his ancestors formed their own governing community in North Mobile, Africatown.
Our ancestors actually came from a culture, a secret society that was set right in the middle of Mobile society. And the Mobile people didn't even know it. They didn't realize these people had their own language, their own religion, their own outlook of life.
The bust of Cudjoe Lewis sits in front of Union Missionary Baptist Church. He was one of the founders. Services are still held there today. A plaque in front of the church displays his African name, Cudjo. Cudjo is also the name of the only Black-owned and operated business in what's considered the heart of downtown Mobile, Dolphin Street. The owner grew up in Africatown and wanted to pay tribute to Cudjoe Lewis. The restaurant Cudjo features memorabilia from Africatown. But owner Mark Jackson hopes to provide more than a history lesson.
I think we all want the same thing. You know, I think it's the music is what brings people together and tells about how much we have in common, just like sports. And I wanted to use this Cudjo as a vehicle through live entertainment to help bring people together.
Bringing people together, the embodiment of Cudjoe Lewis.
Cudjo could have passed the word on to the rest of us, say, hey, look, watch out for those white guys. You can't trust them. Don't do this and don't do that. But Cudjo reminded us, you can't depend on your color, because it was a man who looked just like Cudjo who turned him over to the Disarming Army. He was dark-skinned, the guy who did it. Akaniki. So you can't depend on somebody's color and think they're going to be your friend.
Israel Lewis talks of how white people helped his ancestors get jobs and buy land. And after all these years, he's proud the spirit of Cudjoe Lewis lives on.
The biggest thing I liked about the spirit of Cudjo was that he was just wanted to be himself. He didn't want to be anyone else. And he didn't want people to remember him as a black man. He wanted people to remember him as a happy spirit.
Cudjoe Lewis died in 1935.